Welcome to Ministers Talking a weekly program where Rev Briz and Rev Z and their guests chat about current affairs, world events, spiritual principles, and any old they want to talk about. Based on the New Thought philosophy and ancient wisdoms, Ministers Talking shares a visionary perspective of the evolving spiral called spiritual living. Join us each week as we explore the emerging paradigm of life on planet Earth and beyond.
And good morning, dear ones. Dr. Robert with you over here.
Rev Z right here.
And this is Ministers Talking Shit for today is November, what? What does my clock say? What's the date, Z? I forgot already.
21.
21, that's right. The 21st. My wife's birthday is the 16th. After the 16th, nothing matters for the month of December. As long as I don't miss the 16th, everything is good. So, all right, today's the 21st. It's Friday. It's 7 a.m., and that means it's Ministers Talking Shit. Thanks for being with us, folks. We're here to chat about anything we want to chat about, and you're welcome to join the conversation. It just shouted out in the comment box. And if you're catching this on a replay or at another time, feel free to comment along, share your comments, join with us as we go along as well. So, all right, Z, what do you think? What's the big story of the week?
Ooh, man. I don't know. I mean, there's so many. It's hard to pick one. I mean, I know one that's really probably interesting to everyone is the whole economy thing. I think they had the jobs and inflation numbers come out the other day, and they said that they had like 100,000 new jobs, but unemployment was still rising. So it's kind of like this political teeter-totter on who's doing the right thing, right? And then on top of that, the tariffs for Brazil have been lowered to decrease the price of groceries. And I'm going somewhere with that whole theme that they are putting forth for the win that the Democrats had on this idea of affordability. What are we, how are we going as we get more and more into the winter, and it's starting to show its true face now with some of the storms and flooding. They had big flooding down in Texas, and it's going to be interesting to see how they manage the part of the politics. There's all kind of other politics, Epstein files and Mom Donnie and all of that. But at the end of the day, it is the people that get the brunt of this stuff and feel this stuff. And that's where I think the interesting stories are going to come from.
Yeah. The politics of feeding people, the politics of housing people, the politics of I don't know. I saw you spark in my mind. I saw a video that I watched this week that I didn't give it a lot of thought, right? But the premise is that, and I forget which city it is, but that they're actually not just cleaning up homeless camps or camps of the unhoused, but removing and disappearing these people. And my thought was, okay, wow, that's pretty, the city came in, cleaned up a homeless encampment underneath a bridge, but the people filming are alluding to the fact that they can't find those people. It's not like those people just moved to the next bridge down or the next town down, or even, and now these people can't be found. That are so a rather dark view of what might be happening to clean up the that situation. But I think it does speak to exactly what you're saying. Right now, more than ever, it comes down to how do we handle the politics of the people, housing, food, healthcare. Yeah, I do want to know what's in the Epstein files.
Healthcare.
And I do want to know that our biggest cities aren't being run by communists. Not that I think Mamdani is a communist. I think the people of New York are intelligent enough to know what they're doing when it comes to, well, maybe not. They elected Giuliani mayor at one point too. So, I trust people in New York. I don't need to question any of that. I don't need to question whether it's a good thing to bring out the Epstein files and shine some light into some of the dark crevices of the American political psyche. But I do think it's important that we're involved in the politics of people, food, housing, healthcare. It's going to go, those three alone go a long, long way to creating a happy, healthy, and prosperous country, community, culture.
Yeah. And if you go to the next level of this economic front, if you will, they always say the market is not the economy, but when you look at the market swing, that was wild market swing this week on Nvidia's earnings, right? One of the AI drivers, and they say the market had like a $900 billion swing in value in about 36 hours, right? And so now there's the big debate of all of that money. Is this a bubble? Is not, and the whole thing behind AI. Is it real? It's a bubble. And I mean, it's clear. If anybody has any ounce of curiosity, AI is here to stay. It is not going anywhere. It is getting more ingrained, smarter, more entrenched. And quite frankly, it can serve as a great tool to alleviate some of the stuff we just talked about. But,
yes,
the skepticism that's being put out there, because some people are just making too much money, is going to be an issue of how that gets implemented, how it's monitored, and the success. Now, the other end of that, and I'll stop, is the whole energy part about that. What are we going to do? Because it takes lots of energy to man all those servers, utilities, which are putting in, driving up utilities in some locations where they're placing them. So there's a lot of things going on that we have to stop looking at all this, what I call BS, right, on Epstein files. Yeah, get somebody to do that, right? That's and go deep on that. But there's some other things that affected more people that need to be handled.
Yeah, I saw a piece this week on the data centers in West Virginia and what's happening here, and there really are a lot of humans. We want to keep bringing that back to the people piece here today. There's a lot of humans being affected by this because companies are coming in, they're secretive, they're building their own electrical systems and grids. They're taking a lot of water and using a lot of water in and saw some images of a guy that did a flyover of a data center in West Virginia and others in Ohio. Also, lots of water-rich territory, but a lot of people are concerned that locals and average people are being cut out of the equation here. And much like the Baron and Robber days of big corporations coming in and extracting the natural resources of water and opportunity and land to generate electricity to run AI. I agree with you. I think AI is groundbreaking to help us with the problems that we face as humanity. the opportunities to move forward into new visions of how we are together as humanity. And ultimately, don't believe here's my thought. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the negative hype. Believe the good hype.
Yes.
But don't believe the negative hype, because the negative hype, that's the pattern. I forget that old saying about, first they think you're crazy, and then they think you're this, and then they think you're this, and then they realize you knew what was going on all along. Believe the positive and not the negative when it comes to AI.
Yeah. And one of the hallmarks of the suggestions we give to our viewers is do your own homework. Go and don't just get caught up in somebody's hype story because they got the media and they know the right words and the right voice inflections and tone raising ways to present an idea to get you all riled up one way or the other, right? They know how to do that like magic. That is a signal for you to say, let me go check for myself. Their ideology and their philosophy might be a little different than mine, and I need to bounce it up against my measuring sticks to see before I make decision, or before I go taking a meme or taking a reel and spreading it all over the place and then realize, oops, it's too late at that point. These things go viral in moments and go to thousands of people, and they are shaping ideas and reactions to things that may not be quite true or may not be quite as they are presented in these little things to get you all riled up. And ultimately, they're trying to get you to spend some money at the end of the day, most of them. So we have to be, this is the time to be curious and interesting in things.
Yes. Here's my challenge to folks. Be really good at spotting the fake. Become really good at being able to spot the fake AI reels and the fake AI stories, because, and here's somewhere you and I agree so much. We were talking about this earlier, right? It's not the AI that's the bad guy here. It's the person that's telling AI, I need a fake video of this, that, or the other thing. And I forget which show it was on. You and I were talking about a reel I found that it's got the perfect hook and it's got the perfect everything to make you push that button and want to see what's behind that door. And when you get done, you don't realize that I just spent 30 seconds watching AI fakeness. And it takes a little bit to realize, wait a minute, every one of those 7-8 different little scenes that got stitched together to create the reel all had a couple of things in common. And wow, holy shit, I just got duped by an AI. And we have to become really good at starting to recognize, hey, here's the fake. And what I know is, as we are better at the discernment, we also become much better at recognizing, oh, here's the truth. Here's somebody speaking truth. Here's somebody calling us to a greater vision. Here's someone not trying to shortcut the system and just make money off of the views, but actually bringing forward something we can think about, something we can use to expand our understanding, our consciousness.
Yeah. And when we look at the New Thought movement and one of its hallmarks, if you will, it is the hallmark of unity and oneness, which is the same thing said in a different way. That oneness is everything. Unity is how the oneness works, right? And when we allow ourselves to be divided in a non-communicative way. I want my heart to be divided from my lungs. They do two separate things, but they work hand in hand.
Yeah.
And that's how we have to begin to look at life, because, we have some issues that we are facing. I mean, to think about it, this administration has only been in office for 10 months. 10 months. And there is not a system that we use to govern that is not in turmoil. Not in trouble, in turmoil.
Chaos.
And we stick around and we get caught up in the who's right, who's wrong, while the people suffer, right? And yes, there's a point of that, but I think we have to be more discerning and less judgmental. Whereas when we look at things with the discerning eye, we look for the things that are not so obvious. We look for the things that are not easy to see, that gives us a bigger picture and more information about a situation, so that we make a better judgment, if you will. Right? Because a judgment, if you think about the court system right now with all ICE stuff, those judgments are being passed down on the information or the facts, if you will, that are presented. But some of the other stuff that's obscure that would come up in a discernment are not taken into account, and people's lives are being damaged.
Yeah. You said the magic words that made me go over and check my Project 2025 tracker, and I forget what the name of the show was. There was an early TV show where if you said the magic word, a rubber chicken dropped down from the top of the studio and surprised the guest. I forget what that show was, but it's kind of like that. You said the magic word, so I had to go over and look at the Project 2025 tracker. 10 months in, 48% complete. So if we want to know what the MAGA world would like to see coming in the next few years, I think all we need to do is head over to that tracker and look at what they haven't completed yet, because they're 48% in 10 months. 48% complete with their objectives in completely transforming the face of our nation. And here's the scary part. Z, you want to hear what they're low on, what they're going to be working on? CDC, Center for Disease Control and Prevention, only 25% complete. Securities and Exchange, only 25%. Small Business Administration, only 25%. Veterans Affairs, only 20%. Federal Communications, only 17%. And here's year 3. Federal Trade Commission, 0% so far. Federal Election Commission, Federal Reserve, National Institute of Health, and the Food and Drug Administration. All of those are at 0%. And it doesn't mean they're not doing it. It just means they haven't completed any of their objectives in those areas yet. And they got plenty of objectives in those areas. And it seems to me that we are getting caught up sometime in the smoke and the mirrors and the salaciousness, because everybody wants to know who was doing who on the airplane, or at least have evidence against their favorite villain in that story. Everybody's got a favorite villain, and everybody wants to believe their favorite villain was on the plane. So let's get back to the people. Let's get back to do.
Let me say. And here's the key I see as we move into 2026, and we look at and we take an honest look, try to get all our biases and everything out of the equation as we can. Very hard to do, but it can be done. In 2026, we have to get real clear about telling the story. What is the story that you want to see? Now, another word for story is vision. What is the vision you want to see? But if you start talking vision to people, they might not gravitate to that. But you start telling them, look, this is a story that's being told or being written or play that's being acted out. And at any given moment in a play, if we stick with that modality, you can see yourself as any character in that play. You could be the hero, you could be the villain, you could be the person in distress, because we all have this storyline going. But
Right.
and when we can see that, now we have the ability to rewrite the story. We can edit it differently. We can highlight different parts of the story. And now we need the story to be we the people. We got a brand new start. We're going to get a brand new start in January, however people want to realize that. But we'll get another chance after we get the holiday reset and we've touched base with family. And remember, boy, family is pretty important. And you some people will sit at that dinner table and realize, we don't have as much this time as last time because the prices are high, but we got enough, we can deal, we got this, and begin to see that we have to tell another story.
Yeah. I
can do that together, we move.
right. You've been hearing me say it. It's time to start casting that vision, right? And I love framing it as the story because there's so many opportunities right now and so many great ways to tell a story. YouTube, what we're doing right here today, so many fabulous ways to tell a story and to cast a vision. And I look forward to it, right? It's going to be there's all those trite phrases, but I think we are rapidly approaching the point where the sense of division is so great that it is there is a catalyst event happening that is going to drive everybody towards coming together, back together again, moving beyond this sense of separation or this sense of division, because at the end of the day, it's not the red hats and the blue hats. As I joked earlier this week, not the purple hats either. It's all of us. We all have to learn. We've been taught to go my way or the highway. We've been taught that to embrace the hustle and enjoy the grind and all those things that want that those misusing the law would rather we become separated. And I think it's really important, and I do believe we are close to that day where we start to recognize we're working together again, and we're coming back together. And
and this whole idea, and we see it a lot in politics, idea of rugged individualism, right? That I can do it myself, and I'm a self-made person, and all of this, and none of it's true. None of it's true, because as the old adage goes, no person is an island. Even the island has, connection to a bigger area of rock under the water. You just don't see it. And so we have been taught to go against nature. I don't know another way to say it, right? And that's why you always hear me harping on observe nature. This is a pattern that's been going on for billion and billion of years. I read something this morning on the continued study of dark energy, right? And if the paper isn't out now, it'll be out in the next day or so. Look for it, where they were looking at dark energy, and now that they thought we were just expanding, and now they're saying, wait a minute, there's some evidence that we may be contracting. Okay, We're talking big space, big time, but the implications of what we're looking at here, we look at life, there's an ebb and flow of life. We see that. We're in one right now in winter in this part of the hemisphere, right? So there's a pattern that's been going on that fits into this as above, so below, as below, so above. There is a parallel. There is a correspondence on the micro and the macro. How do we begin to tap into that understanding and apply it to our lives, which is already happening every day? The way we breathe, go to sleep, wake up, eat and eliminate. I mean, we have gotten caught up in such crap about, this ideology or that ideology. The ideology is wholeness of life. And when we can do all these other things from that perspective, the food will get delivered, the politics will work out, the healthcare will rise. And that's what we want. I think that's what I want. Let me say that. I want this to be a place, as we say, a world that works for all.
Yes. And I want to put it this, thank you for bringing that into the conversation today, because this is something that's been rattling around in my head. And it's been rattling around for years, because as soon as you say a world that works for all, the older metaphysicians in the world will say, well, it already is working for all. It's just working according to their consciousness. And that's a cop-out. And at the metaphysical level, that might be true. But in the human practice, which is where we get to live, that's bullshit. And we have to be willing to look at it from, I think, creating a world that works for all good, for all of life, in a way that brings forward more good. And because we can, and we do, we look at it right now, right? The current administration is filled with people that understand the law of attraction. The current administration is filled with people that understand the metaphysics of what New Thought teaches. They're either ignoring that, or they're using that for ego-based gains, for ego-based success, for the false promise of what this philosophy offers. So they're using towards something other than the good. They're creating a world that works for all con men. They're creating a world that works for all, but they're not creating a world that works for all good.
And I would take that. I agree with. I would. My thing is take the thesaurus, flipping these words that you only think, and I would take and reframe that a little bit and say, not for the good, because good has a certain set of judgments tied to it, and it's based on a value system. What is good in the desert is not good in the rainforest. And if I start trying to dictate to you how to do things in the rainforest, and I hardly get any rain in my life at all, I'm going to be off base somewhat.
Right.
But if we take Ernest's point of view is, if it is not furthering and sustaining life, the one thing that exists, life, then it's at odds with all things having a proper place. And so we want to move, I think, from this idea of more good, but we want more harmony. We want more balance. We want more give and take, more correspondence. That's what we're dealing with, right? And when we can do that, when I look at a thing and say, this thing, whatever it is not promoting or sustaining life, then we need to deal with it, right? We see it every day in the medical field. If you get a disease and it's putting in jeopardy the life, then there are opportunities and avenues and procedures to eradicate is a bad word, to eliminate or remove that thing that's causing disease, that's disrupting this thing called life. It's not personal. It's not, there's very little attachment to it other than how do we further life. And if we can see that at the individual level, my body, it just extends out into the world.
Amen. Yes. Oh, excuse me. Couple of quick shout outs here today. I would imagine this is Jenny, is how you would say that. Happy birthday. Thanks for being with us. And our dear friend Linda's with us. Linda's saying, as a female, I cannot ignore the likely number of girls, now women, who were sexually assaulted and trafficked by billionaires who are now in power. That and healthcare are all for all. Healthcare for all are my top priorities. And yes, Linda, and this is part of it, right? We have to find that piece that is our individual contribution to the vast array of issues and opportunities that stand before us. I don't want to be led by men that think it's okay to sexually traffic women and girls. I don't want to follow those men. And that's, I think, the bigger reason behind everybody wanting to see the Epstein files. Yeah, we want to know who was doing what naughty stuff, but more importantly, I want to make sure that we can identify the unhealthy leaders so that we can start identifying and following the healthy leaders. I don't think you're going to find Gavin Newsom on Epstein's plane, but if so, get his ass out of office. I don't think you're going to find Bernie Sanders at Epstein Island, but if so, get his ass out of office. I don't think you're going to find AOC on the plane, or there's a ton of people I don't think you're going to see visiting or participating that are still have money, still have power, still are good people. We get to identify those that we shouldn't be following.
And I saw a comment from Jean that I just want to be in regard to that. Jean had said something about AI, and she's putting forth the idea that maybe we don't need AI. And as someone who works with AI in my job, I can tell you this: the things that I could do in 2 days, tabulating data, and AI can do that in a few minutes.
Oh yeah.
And what it frees up the human mind and consciousness to do is to be now the observer, to observe the information and make decisions that I couldn't make in that amount of time. That's just a backdrop of what AI has, the small thing it has to do. But imagine what's going to happen. I don't know how many pages of the Epstein documents are going to come out. They're going to be hundreds, thousands, maybe. Somebody's going to take that and feed it into an AI model, summarize, to take names, to compare them with dates. I mean, it would take a human an inordinate amount of time to do the correlations.
Yeah.
Where were you on this date and in that date, and who you were with, and what? Because it's all available, right? Especially if you're a public figure. A lot of it is. And they're going to be able to get some information. Now, what they do with the information and how they correlate that stuff is going to be key. But for a human to do that, it would take an inordinate amount of time. And in addition to that, my human biases will go into that. AI, I mean, you can program some biases in it, but at a purely binary relationship, it's either on or off. It's going to produce something that's less biased, and then the bias will come in and how the data is used. And we have to look at this and figure out what's going on.
Yeah, that brings me, and that brings me directly back to human intention. Because if the human intention is to develop an AI model that looks at, let's say, I don't know, the human genome, and the AI and the intention is to find the flaws in the human genome that I can leverage and create a disease that then I can create a cure for, and it's all because my intention is to try to figure out how to make money off of this. Versus, so again, it's not the tool, it's the human intention behind the tool. And the human intention behind the tool right now of Facebook would appear to be to sway people's opinions about certain subjects. If the intention behind our AI model is to figure out a way to early in life identify genetic markers that we can heal or shift or work with to better help people better embrace their natural gifts. Again, is my intention towards the good? Is my intention towards the wholeness, the oneness, the people? Or is my intention towards my stuff and my money and my bank account and my business? And
you strike up a good thing in my conversation head here, that when you talked about the DNA and the genome, right? I don't know if you watch this new program called Watson on TV with Morris Chestnut. He's supposedly the counterpart of Sherlock Holmes, and he does investigative medicine. So long story short, this week's episode was on just that, where this guy was trying to prolong life. He taken these subjects. He gave the guy something to modify his genome to live forever, and they figured it out. And for him, it did the reverse. It took him out. They couldn't fix it. But I think about this in terms of the good, right? Now that's the story, just to think about intent, as you said. But as some of you may know, I'm a somewhat amateur genealogist. I've had my DNA analyzed by several geological outfits. And I went and I was recently given a examination by my doctor, and he said this, that, and the other. And I had these health reports with my DNA that I never looked at, because I just checked the box when I was doing it. I wanted the DNA stuff for genealogy, but it brought up some points for my health condition that were spot on, 100%.
Right.
That said, you have a tendency for A, and I have A, right? And so again, it's how the information is the information, and what I do with the information is where we step into danger.
Right. And the chances of you just so happening to go to a physical doctor that happens to be specialized in the genomic markers that the AI found, that it happens to have an understanding and could say, oh, this right here, this little thing right here, this says that you might be prone to, or that there is a history of this. It's astronomical. But the AI can say, oh, you got this marker and this marker. That's an incredibly rare combination, and it means you want to pay attention to this throughout your entire life.
Yes. Yes.
To be given a health report, a predictive. Pros and cons is coming to my head, but to be given a predictive prescription at early in your life that says, hey, we've got a sample of your DNA. We know what we can predict this. Here's some markers. Here's some places to pay attention. Here's some ways. And again, we're bending towards the good. We're helping people live healthier lives. We're helping people live we're health care, not care management.
Yeah.
I think there's a big difference there.
Yes, yes. And we know from we know from work from people like Bruce Lipton, who was part of the original genome study,
Mm-hmm.
and some of the work he's done at a spiritual level with Greg Braden. We know that the DNA is a blueprint. So that means there's this epigenetic piece of that certain genes get fired based on environmental conditions. And that gene can be in you and you can have a habit there, but because of the environment you're in, it may not ever spark.
Right.
But when you look at bringing that back to what we do here on Ministers Talking Shit, is to the practical point of it, look at the environment we have people living in. Stress, not enough care, not enough love, not enough food, being attacked, always being judgmental or cautious. We know without a doubt, there's no doubt in this, that your mental state affects your physical presence. It sends electrical pulses and hormones and proteins and all kinds of stuff throughout your body very differently when you're smiling and happy and when you're angry and stressed. There's no doubt in that. Yet we give in to all of the madness that is present for them to do that to us, and then we point the finger at them and say, "Oh, y'all, but I have a choice in this. I have a choice," and we have to start making that choice. We have to get educated, involved, and make good choices.
And what a great way! And what a great way to go into the family holiday week. You're going to be with family this week, folks, or not. But what Z is sharing is big wisdom, because it's transferable across all the experiences of our lives. And as we go into this holiday week, whether you're traveling or not, whether you're driving or not, whether you're flying or not, whether you're eating big or not, we get to look at the choices we're making and decide, is this, it's starting to sound a little trite, but is this something that brings me joy? Is this something that makes me happy? And if not, it's not about getting rid of it. And it's not about telling that thing it has to change. It's about us doing the change. Choose to find the good, choose to find the joy, choose. And if there are those things that are pushing your buttons, remember that you're the only one that can. You're the only one that can push that button, and you can just as easily take your finger off of that button once it's tricky. It's a little more, a little trickier. It takes a little bit, but you can undo the trigger. You can pull your finger back off the trigger at any moment.
Yep. And what we teach in New Thought, regardless of the branch, I think the foundational piece, I'll go back to what we said earlier, is oneness. Is that there is a dynamic cosmic dance going on here. And if you've ever seen a salsa competition, right, where they're doing salsa dancing, that's what we're doing. You see two people, they can slow it down, they can speed it up, they can do acrobatics, but the movement between these two individuals who work together as one is just, poetry in motion. There's a rhythm there, there's a beat there, there's a harmony there, there's a give and take there, there's a joy there in that give and take, that if you go out and find on YouTube, this is what YouTube and all that's good for, in my perspective. Go look up some good salsa dancers or good tango dancers, right? Where people are dancing in partnership that do it well. there's a give and take. There's a metaphor for life there that we could learn a lot from. And I hope we begin to do that as we go into year 2026, which is for those who are into numerology, is a number 1 year, which is a year that says start again. You have a clean slate now to make some corrections. Are we going to do it?
I thought I've been looking for the phrase for 2026, and getting our fix in 26 just doesn't seem to ring true. I think we got to find something. But hitting the bricks in 2026 might be pretty good. I don't know. We're going to get to it. Folks, we do have to get out of here. Thanks, Z, for another great conversation. It's always a blast to hang out together on Friday mornings. And folks, we're thankful for you to hang out with us. Grateful you're hanging out with us on a Friday morning as well. Please let your friends and family know what we're doing here. Share the program. Give it a like. Give it a thumbs up. And if you're in a place where you're able, please consider making a donation to New Thought Media Network. Help us financially move into the 2026 and to continue to bring you this programming and all of our programming. Head over to ntmedia.org/donate. And, I will say it just because I did get a card yesterday in the mail from our dear friend Linda Plasters, who likes to hang out here with us on Friday mornings. Linda sends in a check every month. And thank you, as always, Linda, for your contributions to keeping this network going, both financially and in consciousness, by sharing your comments and sharing our programs with others. On behalf of everyone here on New Thought Media Network, we're going to get out of here. Thanks for being with us. And until next time, we want to wish you peace and richest blessings. Bye now.
And thanks for listening to this week's episode of Ministers Talking. We'll be back again next week with more commentary on current affairs, world events, and any other our ministers want to talk about. And if you found value here, please share our with your friends. Until next time, peace and blessings.